Billionaire decides to visit his daughter after 12 years and breaks down in tears at what he sees. Gregory Hammond walked slowly along the sidewalk of Fifth Avenue in the heart of the Yankees, carrying a bouquet of white and red roses in his trembling hands. At 63, the businessman who built an empire in the construction industry never imagined that one day he would need to search for his own daughter on the city streets. 12 years had passed since Christina left home at 18, after a terrible fight that ended with her being thrown out by her own father. Now, with the information he had obtained through a private detective, he had finally discovered where she was, but nothing in the world could have prepared him for what his eyes witnessed on that cold July dawn. There, under the awning of an abandoned commercial building, was his daughter. Christina slept on the icy ground, holding two small children, all covered only by old, torn blankets. The brown hair that once shone in elaborate hairstyles was now tangled and dirty. The angelic face he remembered kissing every night before bed was thin and marked by exhaustion. The flowers slipped from Gregory's hands and fell onto the wet asphalt. His legs trembled and he had to lean against the wall to keep from collapsing. That couldn't be his Christina. Not the girl who grew up in a mansion in the Upper East Side, who had everything money could buy, who studied at the best private schools in the Yankees. But it was her. Even with all the dirt and suffering etched on her face, he would recognize those green eyes anywhere in the world. They were the same eyes as her mother, Margaret, who had passed away when Christina was just 10. The same eyes that stared at him with tears on the last day they spoke, when she begged him to accept her relationship with Daniel, a humble young man she had met in college. Gregory remembered that terrible night perfectly. Christina had come home radiant, talking about the young man she had fallen in love with. Daniel worked as a pizza delivery driver to pay for his engineering studies at a public university. He came from a simple family in the South Bronx, raised only by his mother who worked as a housekeeper. "Dad, I want you to meet Daniel," Christina had said, her eyes shining with happiness. "Forget this nonsense, Christina. You will date Dr. Mitchell's son. I've already spoken with him and everything is settled," replied Gregory, not even looking up from his newspaper. "But Dad, I love Daniel. He's a hard-working, honest guy. He's studying to be an engineer." "Engineer nothing. That kid just wants your money. You're a Hammond, you can't mix with just anyone." The argument went on for hours. Christina cried, begged, tried to explain that Daniel didn't even know about the family fortune when they met. But Gregory was unyielding. In his mind, a billionaire's daughter could only marry into a wealthy family. That's how the world worked. That's how it had always been. "If you don't break up with this boy, you can leave my house and never come back," were Gregory's final words that night. Christina stared at him for a long moment, tears streaming down her face. "So that's it, Dad. You're throwing me out because I chose to love someone real, someone who makes me happy. I'm giving you a chance to choose between this silly infatuation and your family. My choice is already made." The next day, Christina had left home with just a suitcase of clothes and never returned. Gregory waited for her to change her mind, for the lack of comfort to make her come running back. But that never happened. During the first few years, he received news of her through acquaintances. He had learned she had married Daniel, that she worked as a secretary in a small office, that she lived in a rented apartment in Queens. His wounded pride wouldn't allow him to yield first. He was Gregory Hammond, one of the richest men in the country. He wasn't going to lower himself to beg for forgiveness from a stubborn daughter. But as the years passed, the longing ate away at his heart like acid. Now, looking at that devastating scene, Gregory understood the terrible price his pride had exacted. While he slept on silk sheets and dined in expensive restaurants, his daughter was on the streets with two children he didn't even know existed. The children looked to be between 3 and 5 years old, a boy and a girl, both with dark hair like Christina's. His grandchildren, children who carried his blood and whom he had never seen before. The thought that they were cold and hungry while he had more money than he could spend in 10 lifetimes made him feel a pain in his chest he had never experienced. Gregory approached slowly, trying not to make noise so as not to wake them. He wanted to observe better, to understand how his daughter had reached that point. The children's clothes were clean, even if simple. Christina had managed to maintain some dignity, even in the most desperate situation. A noise of footsteps on the sidewalk made Christina stir among the blankets. She opened her eyes slowly, still sleepy, but soon startled upon seeing the silhouette of a man standing in front of her. Instinctively, she pulled the children closer to her, protecting them. "Don't come any closer," she said, her voice hoarse from not having spoken for hours. "Please, we don't have anything of value." Gregory felt his heart shatter. His own daughter hadn't recognized him and was afraid of him. The yellow light from the street lamp was weak and created shadows that made recognition difficult. "Chris," he began to say, but his voice failed. Upon hearing that familiar voice calling her by the nickname only he used, Christina's eyes widened. Even after so many years, she would never forget her own father's voice. "It can't be," she murmured, standing up slowly without letting go of the children. Gregory took another step forward, allowing the street lamp light to better illuminate his face. He was older, with graying hair and wrinkles around his eyes, but it was unmistakably him. "Hi, daughter," said Gregory, his voice choked. The silence that followed was deafening. Christina stood paralyzed, trying to process her father's presence there at that moment in that place. 12 years of hurt, anger, longing, and pain mixed in her chest. "What are you doing here?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady, but Gregory noticed the tremor. I was looking for you. For 12 years you didn't look for me. Why now?" Gregory looked at the children who were beginning to wake up at the sound of the voices. The boy rubbed his little eyes and looked at him with curiosity, without fear. The girl hid behind her mother, more shy. "These are my children," Christina completed, her voice laden with wounded pride. "Your grandchildren that you never wanted to meet." Christina's words were like a punch to Gregory's stomach. He knelt down slowly, coming to the children's level. "What are your names?" he asked, trying to keep his voice soft. The boy, less inhibited, answered first. "I'm Nathan, and she's Emily." "Nathan and Emily," repeated Gregory, tears finally welling in his eyes. "What beautiful names." Emily came out from behind her mother and looked at the well-dressed man with curiosity. "Do you know my mommy?" she asked, with the innocence of a 4-year-old. Gregory looked at Christina, asking silent permission to answer. She nodded slightly. "Yes, I do, Emily. I am your mommy's daddy." "So you're my grandpa?" asked Nathan, excited. The child's simple question made Gregory break down completely. Tears now streamed freely down his face. "Mommy, why is Grandpa crying?" asked Emily, worried. Christina crouched down and hugged her children. "Grandpa is emotional about meeting you." Gregory tried to pull himself together, wiping his face with the sleeve of his expensive suit. "Christina, explain to me how you got here. Where is Daniel?" The mention of her ex-husband's name made Christina's face harden. "Daniel left us 2 years ago. He lost his job, started drinking, and one day he just didn't come home." "And you, how are you surviving?" "I work as a house cleaner when I can, but it's hard to find steady work with 2 small children. I can't leave them alone." Gregory looked around, seeing the raw reality of the situation. His daughter, who grew up taking private piano and French lessons, was struggling to find work as a house cleaner. "Christina, come with me. You don't have to stay here." Christina's reaction was immediate and furious. "No, I don't need your charity. Now you want to play the good father? Where were you when I needed you?" The children were frightened by their mother's raised voice. Nathan began to cry softly. "Christina, for God's sake, look at the children. They're cold, they're hungry." "And whose fault is that?" shouted Christina. "Who threw me out of the house because I chose to marry for love? Who said I was no longer his daughter?" Gregory knew she was right. Every word was like a stab, but he deserved to hear it. "You're right. I was a fool, a terrible father. But now I want to make things right." "Make things right?" Christina laughed bitterly. 12 years, Dad. 12 years you let pass. I got married without you there. I had my children without you knowing them. I went through hard times without a family to support me. And now that you find me in the worst possible situation, you want to make things right. Dear listener, If you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing. Christina, I know I have no right to ask for forgiveness. I know I was the worst father in the world. But at least let me help the children. They're not to blame for my mistakes. Christina looked at her children, who were confused and scared by the argument. Nathan had stopped crying, but was still clinging to her leg. Emily was sucking her thumb, a habit she had when she was nervous. The children are hungry, she admitted, her voice lower. Then let's go. I'll take you to get something to eat. I don't want anything from you, insisted Christina, but her conviction was weakening. It had been 2 days since they'd had a decent meal. Gregory noticed his daughter's hesitation and changed his strategy. It's not for you, Christina. It's for Nathan and Emily. Look at them, daughter. They need hot food, a bath, a bed. Christina looked at her children and felt her heart tighten. Nathan had visibly lost weight in recent weeks, and Emily had developed a cough that worried her. As a mother, she knew it was time to swallow her pride. Just one meal, she finally said. Then we come back. Come back where? To sleep on the cold floor? That's our reality now. Gregory took a deep breath, trying to control his emotion. It doesn't have to be. They walked in silence to Gregory's car, a black luxury sedan parked on the corner. The children were impressed by the luxurious vehicle. Nathan ran his hand over the shiny hood. Grandpa, is this your car? Yes, Nathan. Wow, it's so cool. It looks like the cars from the superhero movie. Christina watched the interaction between her father and her son with conflicting feelings. It was impossible to deny that the children were fascinated by the grandfather they had just met. At the same time, the anger she had carried for years had not disappeared. Gregory opened the rear door of the luxury sedan and helped the children get in. Christina hesitated for a moment before entering as well. The interior of the vehicle was beige leather, immaculately clean. She felt out of place there with her dirty and torn clothes. Where are we going? She asked, still wary. I know a place that serves breakfast anytime. It's discreet. We won't draw attention. During the drive, Gregory watched the children in the rearview mirror. Nathan was glued to the window, watching the buildings go by. Emily had snuggled into Christina's lap and was almost asleep again. They're beautiful, Chris, said Gregory, breaking the silence. Christina didn't answer, just held Emily tighter against her chest. The restaurant Gregory chose was in Greenwich Village, a small, cozy place that was open 24 hours. When they entered, the waiter looked at them with curiosity, a well-dressed man accompanied by a woman and 2 children who were visibly in a vulnerable situation. Table for 4, said Gregory, ignoring the curious looks. They sat at a table in the back of the restaurant. Nathan and Emily were amazed by the atmosphere. They had never been in a place like this. Christina tried to make herself small in the chair, ashamed of her own appearance. You can order whatever you want, said Gregory, handing them the menus. The children couldn't read well yet, so Christina explained the options to them. Nathan wanted chocolate pancakes. Emily chose bread with butter and orange juice. Christina ordered just a coffee. Aren't you going to eat anything? Asked Gregory. I'm not hungry. He knew she was lying. He could see from the thinness of her face that she hadn't eaten properly in a long time. Then at least share the pancakes with Nathan. When the food arrived, Gregory watched silently as the children ate eagerly. Christina did share the pancakes with Nathan, cutting small pieces for herself and giving most of it to her son. Emily, did you like the bread? Asked Gregory, trying to talk to his granddaughter. She nodded vigorously, her mouth full of food. It's yummy, Grandpa. So yummy. And you, Nathan, are the pancakes good? They're the best pancakes in the world, replied the boy, excited. Mommy, can I eat here every day? The child's innocent question created an awkward silence. Christina looked down, ashamed she couldn't provide this for her children. Gregory seized the opening. Chris, I need to talk to you alone. She looked at the children who were busy with their food. Talk right here. It's about you, about the situation you're in. If it's to offer money, forget it. I don't want anything from you. It's not money. It's about opportunity. Christina looked up, curious despite her anger. What kind of opportunity? Work, housing, stability for the children? In exchange for what? For nothing. I just want my family back. Family? Christina laughed humorlessly. We haven't been your family for 12 years. To me, you always were. I was just too stupid to see it. Nathan had finished the pancakes and was watching the conversation between his mother and grandfather, even without fully understanding what was happening. Mommy, why are you mad at Grandpa? The child's direct question caught Christina off guard. How do you explain the whole complexity of the situation to a 5-year-old? Mommy and Grandpa had a fight a long time ago. But have you made up yet? Asked Emily. Christina looked at her father, who was visibly moved by the children's innocence. Not yet, Emily. It's complicated. At school, the teacher said that when we fight, we have to say sorry, said Nathan. Grandpa, have you said sorry to Mommy yet? Gregory swallowed hard. Being questioned by a child about something he knew was right, but didn't have the courage to do, was a painfully clear moment. Nathan is right, Chris. I never properly apologized. He turned to look his daughter in the eyes. Christina, forgive me. Forgive me for being a controlling, proud, and stupid father. Forgive me for choosing my prejudice over your love. Forgive me for missing 12 years of your life and my grandchildren's lives. I was wrong, completely wrong. Tears began to stream down Christina's face again. These were words she had waited to hear for so many years, but now that she finally heard them, she didn't know how to react. You hurt me so much, Dad. It wasn't just a silly fight. You threw me out, disowned me, said I was no longer your daughter. I know, and I will carry that guilt for the rest of my life. But now I want to try to make it right. If you'll let me. Emily got up from her chair and went to Gregory. Grandpa, Mommy is crying. Can you give her a hug? The girl's suggestion made both Gregory and Christina smile for the first time that evening. Gregory hesitantly opened his arms. Christina hesitated for a moment, then stood up and let herself be hugged by her father. It was a timid hug at first, laden with 12 years of hurt and longing. But gradually, both allowed themselves to feel the emotion of the reunion. Gregory inhaled the scent of his daughter's hair, which, even dirty, still carried the familiar smell from her childhood. Christina remembered how safe she used to feel in her father's arms when she was little. I missed you every day, Gregory whispered in his daughter's ear. I missed you too, she admitted, her voice choked. Nathan and Emily applauded, happy to see the adults reconciling. Are you friends again now? Asked Nathan. We're trying, son, replied Christina, pulling away from the hug and wiping her tears. Gregory paid the bill and they went back to the car. During the ride back, he tried to convince Christina to accept his help. Chris, at least let me arrange a place for you to stay tonight. It's too cold to sleep on the street. We've slept in worse places. That's no argument. The children could get sick. Christina knew he was right. Emily already had a cough that worried her, and Nathan complained that his back hurt from sleeping on the hard ground. A simple hotel, she finally said. Just for tonight. Of course, whatever you want. Gregory took them to a mid-range hotel in the central area. He didn't want anything too luxurious that would make Christina uncomfortable, but he also wanted it to be a decent place for the children. At the front desk, he asked for a room with 2 double beds. The clerk handed over the keys without asking questions, accustomed to all kinds of clients. The room has a bathtub, Gregory said in the elevator. The kids will be able to take a hot bath. Thank you, murmured Christina. When they entered the room, Nathan and Emily ran to the bed and started jumping, thrilled by the softness of the mattress. Mom, look how soft it is, shouted Nathan, throwing himself on the bed. Wow, it's like a cloud, agreed Emily. Christina smiled, seeing her children's joy. It had been so long since they had fun like that. Well, I should be going, said Gregory, somewhat awkwardly standing at the door. Dad, wait, Christina called him. He turned, hopeful. Thank you for the food, for the room. The kids needed this. You're welcome, daughter. It's the least I can do. And Dad, if you want, tomorrow morning you can have breakfast with us, here at the hotel. Gregory's face lit up. I would like that very much. So we'll meet at 8? I'll be here at 7:30. After Gregory left, Christina helped the children take a bath. The hot water was a luxury they hadn't experienced in weeks. Emily hummed as she played with the soap suds. Nathan made little boats out of the hotel shampoo bottles. By the time they finally went to bed, it was past midnight. The children fell asleep almost instantly between the clean, soft sheets. Christina stayed awake for a long time, looking at them and thinking about everything that had happened. Seeing her father again after so long stirred emotions she was sure she had buried. The anger was still there, but so was the longing, the wounded love, and a sliver of hope she tried to smother. The next morning, Gregory arrived promptly at 7:30. He had brought new clothes for the children, jeans, colourful t-shirts, new sneakers. For Christina, he brought a simple but pretty dress in blue, which had always been her favourite colour. "How did you remember I like blue?" she asked, surprised. A father never forgets his daughter's details. Nathan and Emily were thrilled with the new clothes. It was the first time in a long while they had items that weren't donated or bought from a thrift store. "Can I wear the new sneakers now, Grandpa?" asked Nathan. "Of course you can. They're yours." During breakfast at the hotel, Gregory watched his grandchildren's every move. How Nathan ate with his left hand, just like him. How Emily had the habit of twirling her hair around her finger when she was thoughtful, exactly as Christina used to do when she was little. "Christy, can I ask you a question?" "Go ahead." "Why did you never look for me? All these years, even when things got tough?" Christina stopped eating and looked at him. "Because you made it very clear I was no longer welcome in your life. And because I was proud too. A family trait, I guess." Gregory smiled sadly. "Stubborn as mules. Your grandmother always said that about the Hammonds." "How is Grandma Dorothy?" asked Christina. It was the first time she had shown interest in the family. "She passed away 3 years ago, honey." The news hit Christina like a punch. Grandma Dorothy had been the most affectionate person in her childhood, the only one who always defended her when Gregory was too strict. "Why didn't you tell me before?" "How?" "You had disappeared, Christy. I didn't know where you were." Tears welled up in Christina's eyes again. Another loss she couldn't experience. Another goodbye she couldn't say. "She always asked about you," Gregory continued, "until the very end. She always said I was a fool for letting you go." "Mommy, why are you crying again?" asked Emily, worried. "Mommy is sad because her grandma died, sweetie." "A great-grandma? I had a great-grandma?" "Yes, you did, Emily. And she would have loved to meet you and Nathan." Gregory realized the topic was making the atmosphere heavy for the children and changed the subject. "So now, Christy, what do you plan to do? Go back to the streets, I suppose. Look for work." "What if I offered you a job?" Christina looked at him suspiciously. "What kind of job?" "I have a construction company. I need someone to manage the office, organize documents, answer the phone. Nothing too complicated." "And you think I'm qualified for that?" "You have a degree in business administration, Christy. Of course you're qualified." It was true. Christina had finished college right after getting married, but had never managed to work in the field. First because Daniel preferred she stay home, then because it became hard to balance work with caring for young children. What would the salary be? "Enough for you to rent an apartment and support the children with dignity." "And the catch? Because I know you're not doing this out of kindness." Gregory took a deep breath. He knew his daughter well enough to know she would distrust anything that looked like charity. "The catch is that I want to know my grandchildren. I want to be part of their lives. And part of my life. Do you want to be part of my life too? If you'll let me. More than anything in the world." Christina fell silent, thinking. It was a chance to start over, to give her children a better life. But it also meant opening the doors again to the father who had hurt her so much. "Can I think about it?" "Of course. How much time do you need?" "A few days. I need to be sure I'm making the right decision." "Where will you stay while you think?" "We'll manage." "Chris, for God's sake, stay here at the hotel a few more days. Please." She looked at the children who were playing with their breakfast napkins, completely unaware of the adults' conversation. Just until I decide. Deal. Gregory paid for 3 more nights at the hotel and left a card with his personal number. Call me when you decide. Anytime, day or night. After he left, Christina sat on the hotel bed and stared out the window. Down below she could see the city's movement. People coming and going to their jobs, their organized and predictable lives. For the next 3 days, she didn't leave the room. Gregory had meals delivered to the room, paid for everything in advance. The children watched television, took long baths, slept in soft beds. It was a taste of what their life could be like if she accepted her father's help. But with every moment of comfort, the voice of anger and pride whispered in her mind. He had abandoned her when she needed him most. Why would now be any different? What if she allowed herself to trust him again, and he let her down once more? On the 3rd day, Emily woke up with a high fever. Christina was desperate. She didn't know what to do. She called the hotel reception, but they could only recommend a public hospital that was far away. That's when she realized she had no choice. She called the number Gregory had left. Hello? Dad, it's Christina. Emily has a very high fever. Can you help us? Of course, I'm on my way right now. We'll take her to the best pediatrician in the city. Gregory arrived in less than 20 minutes. When he saw Emily burning with fever in Christina's arms, his heart raced. His granddaughter was sick and he couldn't let her suffer. They rushed to the Metropolitan Medical Center, where Gregory had contacts. In less than an hour, Emily was being seen by the best pediatrician in the hospital. Tests showed she had early-stage pneumonia. We caught it early, said the doctor. With the right treatment, she'll be fine in a week. But a week meant hospitalization. Emily would need to stay in the hospital to receive intravenous medication and medical monitoring. I'll stay with her, said Christina, holding her daughter's hand in the hospital bed. We'll stay, corrected Gregory. I'm not leaving you alone. Throughout the night, Gregory remained in the hospital room. He brought blankets for Christina to sleep in the armchair next to Emily's bed. He bought toys to distract the girl when she was awake. He talked to Nathan, who was scared to see his sister sick. Grandpa, is Emily going to be okay? The boy asked every hour. Yes, she is, Nathan. The doctor is very good and Emily is a strong girl. Like Mommy? Like Mommy. It was during that early morning, watching her father care for her daughter with such tenderness, that Christina began to let her guard down. He was there, present, caring, genuinely worried. He wasn't the same person who had thrown her out of the house 12 years before. The next morning, while Emily slept peacefully after her medication, Gregory and Christina went out for coffee at the hospital cafeteria. Dad, I've decided. Decided what? About the job offer. I accept. Gregory smiled, but tried not to show too much excitement. Are you sure? I am, but I have conditions. Go ahead. First, I want to really work. No giving me easy tasks just because I'm your daughter. If I don't perform, you fire me. Agreed. Second, my relationship with you will be built gradually. Don't expect us to become father and daughter again overnight. I understand perfectly. Third, I pay for the hotel, the children's clothes, the hospital, everything. You can deduct it from my salary. Chris, it's non-negotiable, Dad. Either it's this way, or I don't accept. Gregory realized his daughter had inherited the family's stubbornness. Arguing would be pointless. All right, as you wish. And Dad, thank you for being here when Emily got sick. That meant a lot to me. That's what families do, honey. They take care of each other. Emily was hospitalized for 5 days. During that time, Gregory practically lived at the hospital. He brought work to do in the room so he could stay close to his granddaughter. Nathan had fun watching his grandfather work on the computer, asking 1,000 questions about how each program worked. By the time Emily was discharged, they had already established a routine. Gregory had rented a small but comfortable apartment in Brooklyn Heights for Christina and the children. 2 bedrooms, a living room, kitchen, and bathroom. Simple, but clean and safe. It's perfect, said Christina when she saw the apartment for the first time. The children ran through the rooms, excited to have a real home after so long. Nathan chose the top bunk of the bunk bed in their room. Emily wanted the bottom one, so she could store her toys underneath. Gregory had furnished the apartment with the basics. Simple but functional furniture, necessary appliances, bedding and tableware. Nothing luxurious, but everything a family needed to live with dignity. "When do I start work?" asked Christina. "Monday, if you're ready. The office is a 15-minute bus ride from here." "And the children?" "There's a good public school nearby. I've already spoken with the principal. They can start next week." Christina was impressed by her father's level of organization. He had thought of every detail to ease her transition into the new life. On Sunday, Gregory showed up at the apartment with grocery bags. "What's all this?" asked Christina. "Basic groceries for you to get started. Rice, beans, meat, vegetables, milk for the kids. Dad, I said I would pay for everything. And you will. You can deduct it from your salary. But you need to eat today." Nathan and Emily were helping their grandfather put the groceries away in the refrigerator. It was a domestic scene that warmed Christina's heart, even as she tried to maintain emotional distance. "Grandpa, do you want to have lunch with us?" asked Emily. "If your mother allows it." Christina hesitated. This was all happening too fast. But seeing the expectation in the children's eyes, she gave in. "Of course, but I'll do the cooking." It was the first family lunch in 12 years. Christina made a simple meal, rice, beans, steak with onions and salad. But to Gregory, it was the best meal he'd had in a long time. "It's delicious, Chris. You learned to cook well." "I learned out of necessity." Daniel didn't even know how to fry an egg. It was the first time she had mentioned her ex-husband without bitterness, just as a fact. Gregory realized she was beginning to move past that relationship. After lunch, the children asked to play in the building's small playground. Gregory and Christina sat on a bench, watching their children have fun. "Chris, can I ask you a personal question?" "Go ahead." "Do you still love Daniel?" Christina thought for a moment before answering. "I loved him very much. He was my first love, the father of my children. But the man who abandoned me was no longer the person I fell in love with." "Do you regret leaving home for him?" "No. If I hadn't left, I wouldn't have Nathan and Emily. They are the best thing that ever happened to me." Gregory smiled, understanding that his daughter did not regret the choices she had made, only how things had ended. "And you, Dad? Do you regret kicking me out?" "Every day for the past 12 years. It was the biggest mistake of my life." "Why? What changed?" Gregory looked at his grandchildren playing on the slide. "I realized that family is more important than money, social status, anything. I realized love doesn't have a social class. And most of all, I realized I was missing the chance to watch you grow up, to know my grandchildren, to be part of a real family." "And your company? Is it still important to you?" "Of course it is, but not more important than you all." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now, continuing. On Monday, Christina started working at the Hammond & Sons construction company office. It was a medium-sized commercial building in Midtown Manhattan with about 50 employees. Gregory introduced her as Christina Silva, the new administrative assistant. He didn't mention their relationship, as she had requested. Her colleagues welcomed her warmly, impressed by her manners and technical knowledge. The work was real work. Gregory wasn't paternalistic. He gave her real and important tasks. Christina felt useful for the first time in a long while. She organized contracts, dealt with suppliers, managed the meeting schedule. "Christina, you're doing very well," commented Jennifer, the human resources manager, after 2 weeks. "We didn't expect someone so competent for this position." "Thank you, Jennifer. I'm really enjoying working here." Mr. Gregory made a perfect hire. Christina smiled, proud to be recognized on her own merit. At home, a routine had naturally settled in. The children were loving their new school. Nathan had made several friends and was excelling in math. Emily was the teacher's pet, always cheerful and participative. Gregory visited the apartment twice a week, always bringing something for the children. Not expensive or excessive toys, but small gifts that showed attention. a storybook for Emily, a puzzle for Nathan, a different ice cream for the two of them to share. "Grandpa, can you read me a story today?" Emily would ask every time he arrived. "Of course, Princess. Which story do you want to hear?" Gregory discovered he loved reading to his grandchildren. It was something he had never done with Christina when she was little, always too busy with work to dedicate himself to simple moments like those. One day, while Emily slept after the story and Nathan did his homework, Christina and Gregory talked in the kitchen. "Dad, you're being a better grandfather than you were a father to me." The statement hurt Gregory, but he knew it was true. "Maybe because now I understand what really matters." "What do you mean?" "When you were little, I was always worried about building an empire to leave to you. I worked 16 hours a day, traveled constantly, missed school plays, birthdays, important moments. I thought providing financially was enough. And now I know that being present is worth more than any fortune." Christina poured coffee for them both and sat at the table. "Dad, can I tell you something?" "Of course." "When I was a child, I would wait for you to come home every night. I'd stay awake just to say goodnight to you. But you always came home too late, and I'd end up falling asleep." Gregory felt his heart tighten. "Chris, I'm not saying this to hurt you. I just want you to understand why it was so important to me that you accept Daniel. I wanted to have a family different from the one we had. A present family." "And did you succeed?" "With Daniel, did you have that family?" "In the beginning, yes. He was attentive, affectionate with the children, present. But when he lost his job and started drinking, everything changed." "What do you mean, changed?" Christina hesitated. It was hard to talk about that phase of life. "He became aggressive, not with me physically, but verbally. He'd yell at the kids over any little thing. He'd come home drunk and wake everyone up. The neighbors started to complain." Gregory felt a rage growing in his chest. "Did he hurt you?" "Not physically, but the children became afraid of him." Emily started wetting the bed again when she heard him coming home. "Nathan stopped talking for a few weeks. Why didn't you come to me?" "Because in my mind I had made my choice 12 years earlier, and I had to live with the consequences." "My God, Chris, if I had known, what would you have done? Would you have really helped me after everything?" Gregory looked her in the eyes. "Without hesitation, you are my daughter. You always were, even when I was too foolish to show it." It was at that moment that Christina felt she could finally forgive her father completely. Not because he was being a good grandfather now, but because she saw genuine sincerity in his words. "Dad, I forgive you. Chris, I forgive you for the mistakes of the past, for the lost years, for throwing me out of the house, for everything." Gregory got up from the chair and hugged his daughter. This time it was a hug without hesitation, without pain, without resentment. It was a hug of a father and daughter who had finally found each other again. "Thank you, daughter. You don't know the relief this is for me. And I want you to be part of the children's lives, for real, not just little visits twice a week." "What do you mean?" "Come have dinner with us every Sunday. Take the kids to the park on Saturdays. Attend the meetings at school. Be the grandfather they deserve." "Are you sure?" "Absolutely. They love you, Dad. And I'm learning to love you again, too." From that day on, Gregory became a constant presence in his grandchildren's lives. Every Saturday he would take them somewhere. The zoo, the park, the mall, the movies. Sundays were sacred for family dinner at the apartment. The children blossomed with their grandfather's attention. Nathan started telling his school friends about the cool grandpa he had. Emily drew little notes to give to Gregory every week. "Grandpa, can you teach me to drive when I grow up?" Nathan would ask. "Of course I can. But you need to study hard so when you grow up you can be a responsible man." "Like you." "Better than me, Nathan, much better than me." Emily, for her part, had decided she wanted to be a businesswoman like Grandpa when she grew up. "But I'll be a good businesswoman who doesn't yell at anyone," she would say. Gregory laughed at his granddaughter's determination, but deep down he wondered how the children perceived him. Did they think he yelled at people? Was his business personality scaring the children? One night, he talked about this with Christina. "Chris, are the children afraid of me at work? Nathan never wanted to visit the office when I offered." "It's not fear, Dad. It's that they know you here at home, as Grandpa. At the office, you're the boss, and they don't quite know how to handle that. Maybe I should take them there someday, to demystify it. Only if you promise you'll be the affectionate Grandpa there too, not the serious businessman." Gregory laughed. "I promise." The following Saturday, he took Nathan and Emily to see the office. The children were impressed by the size of the building and the number of people who greeted Gregory with respect. "Grandpa, are you famous?" Emily asked in the elevator. "I'm not famous, Princess. I've just worked here a long time." "And all these people work for you?" "Not exactly. We work together. Everyone does an important part of the work." Gregory made a point of introducing his grandchildren to all the employees. He saw how people's eyes lit up seeing the polite and affectionate children. Some remarked on how Nathan resembled him at that age. "Mr. Hammond, I didn't know you had grandchildren," commented Jennifer. "I do. They are my greatest pride." When they passed Christina's desk, the children ran to hug her. "Mommy, look, we're visiting your work." "I see. Are you enjoying it?" "It's so cool. Grandpa showed us where he sits and he has a room all to himself." Christina's colleagues were surprised to perceive the connection between her, the children, and Gregory. Some began to put the pieces together, the physical resemblance between Christina and the boss, the way he treated her with special affection. After the visit, Gregory took the family to lunch at a nearby restaurant. "Did you like seeing where I work?" "Yes," the children replied in chorus. "And did you like seeing where Mommy works?" "Mommy is very smart," said Nathan. "All the uncles speak well of her." "It's true," agreed Gregory, looking at Christina with pride. "Your mother is a very special woman." Christina smiled, feeling valued both as a professional and as a daughter. After 3 months working at the company, Christina had earned everyone's trust. Gregory promoted her to administrative coordinator with a better salary and more responsibilities. "Dad, are you sure you're not favoring me?" "I'm sure. Jennifer suggested the promotion even before I thought of it." "You deserve it, Chris." "And the other employees, won't they think it's nepotism?" "The other employees respect you for the work you do. Some don't even know we're family." It was true. Christina had earned her place professionally. She arrived early, left late when necessary, solved problems efficiently. She had implemented new organizational systems that improved office productivity. One day, a big project proposal came in for the construction company. It was the renovation of a residential complex in the South Zone, a contract that could earn millions for the company. "Chris, I want you to coordinate this project with me," said Gregory. "Me? Dad, it's very important. What if I ruin everything?" "You won't ruin anything. You have the competence, and I trust you." It was the first time in 12 years that Gregory said he trusted her with something important. Christina felt a mix of pride and nervousness. The project lasted 4 months. Christina worked day and night to ensure everything went perfectly. She coordinated suppliers, supervised schedules, solved problems that arose daily. Gregory watched her work with growing admiration. His daughter had become a competent and dedicated professional, traits she definitely had not inherited from him. When the project was completed on time and on budget, the client was so satisfied that they referred the construction company for 3 other similar projects. "Chris, you were brilliant," said Gregory on the day of the final handover. "We were brilliant, Dad. It was a team effort." "No, daughter. The coordination was all yours. I just signed the papers at the end." That night, Gregory showed up at the apartment with a bottle of champagne to celebrate. "What are we celebrating?" asked Christina. "The success of the project, and the fact that I have the best administrative coordinator I've ever seen in my life." Nathan and Emily wanted to know why the adults were so happy. "Mommy did a very important job, and everyone was pleased with her," explained Gregory. "Mommy is the best in the world," declared Emily. "Yes, she is," agreed Gregory, looking at his daughter with affection. During the celebration, Christina realized how her life had completely changed in just a few months. He had a job he loved, a comfortable home for the children, and most importantly, he had his family back. Dad, thank you. Thank you for what? For giving me a second chance, for not giving up on looking for us. I'm the one who should thank you, Chris, for forgiving me, for letting me meet my grandchildren, for giving me the chance to be a better father. And now, what's the next step? Gregory hesitated. There was something he had wanted to suggest for weeks, but he didn't know how Christina would react. Actually, I have a proposal for you. What kind of proposal? How about you and the kids moving to a bigger house? There's a house in Greenwich Village, near the kids' school with a backyard for them to play in. Dad, the apartment is just fine for us. I know, but I thought maybe you'd want more space, and maybe I could live near you too. Christina looked at him surprised. Live near how? There's a house next door for sale. I thought about buying it. That way I could be close to my grandchildren without invading your privacy. The suggestion caught Christina off guard. During all those months, Gregory had scrupulously respected the boundaries she had set. He never showed up unannounced, never interfered in decisions about the children, never tried to exert authority as a father or grandfather in an imposing way. Are you sure you want this? A living close to two noisy kids and a stubborn daughter. Gregory laughed. It's all I want most in life. The children, who were playing in the living room, overheard the conversation and ran to the kitchen. Is Grandpa going to live close to us? Asked Nathan excitedly. If your mother agrees. Mommy, please, begged Emily. Then Grandpa can read me a story every night. Christina looked at the hopeful faces of the children and at her father's anxious gaze. How could she say no to so much happiness? All right, but with a few conditions. What are they? First condition, we split the house expenses 50-50. No you paying for everything alone. Chris, it's non-negotiable, Dad. Either we split the bills or there's no move. All right, second condition. You can't interfere in the children's upbringing without talking to me first. I am their mother. I completely agree. Third condition. The kids will keep calling me Mommy and you, Grandpa. You're not trying to replace their father. I understand. Any other conditions? Just one. Do you promise you won't abandon us again? Because now it's not just me you'll hurt if you decide to leave. It's the children too. The question was like a dagger to Gregory's heart. Seeing his daughter still unsure about his permanence in their lives showed he still had a lot to prove. Chris, look into my eyes. She obeyed. I solemnly promise I will never abandon you again. You are my family, my greatest treasure. I'd rather lose everything I have than lose you again. Tears welled up in Christina's eyes. Then it's decided. We'll be neighbors. The children jumped for joy and ran through the house, shouting that they were going to live in a house with a backyard and that Grandpa would be their neighbor. The move happened 2 months later. Gregory made sure Christina chose the decoration for the new house. He wanted her to feel truly at home. The children got their own bedrooms for the first time in their lives, each decorated according to their personality. Nathan's room had a superhero theme, with a bookshelf full of adventure books that Gregory kept buying little by little. Emily's room was all pink, with a custom-made dollhouse that Gregory had ordered. The house had a spacious backyard where the children could play, and Gregory had a small playground with a slide and swings installed. Dad, this is too much for them, protested Christina when she saw the playground. Chris, let me be a doting grandfather. I promise I won't overdo it with other things. Gregory's house was literally right next to theirs, separated only by a low fence. He had a small gate made in the fence so the children could easily pass from one house to the other. Now it feels like we have 2 houses, Emily would say, running from one backyard to the other. And 2 places to play, Nathan would add. The family routine established itself naturally. Gregory would have breakfast with them before they went to work and school. They had lunch together on weekends. They had dinner together every Wednesday and Sunday. Dad, are you happy? Christina asked one evening, as they watched the children play in the backyard. Happier than I've ever been in my life, sweetheart. And you? Me too. For the first time in a long time, I feel like I have a complete family. A real family. Yeah, a real family. 6 months after the move, something unexpected happened. Christina met someone. Michael was an architect, hired to design a renovation for one of the construction company's buildings. He was divorced, father of an 8-year-old boy, and had been interested in Christina since his first day on the job. "Marie, Michael is interested in you," Jennifer commented one day at the office. "How do you know?" "Because he always finds an excuse to walk by your desk, and he always asks if you'll be in the meetings." Christina had noticed Michael's special attention, but she was unsure about whether she should get involved with someone. She was still getting used to her new life, and she was afraid of how the children would react. When Michael finally asked her out to dinner, she hesitated. "Michael, I have 2 small children and a complicated family situation." "That's not a problem. I have a son too, and there's no complicated family situation that can't be talked through." Christina decided to accept the invitation, but first she talked to Gregory. "Dad, a colleague from work asked me out to dinner." Gregory felt a twinge of protective jealousy, but tried to hide it. "What kind of person is he?" "A decent person. Architect, divorced, has a son." "And do you want to go?" "Yes, but I'm worried about the children." "Why?" "They're still getting used to our new life. I'm afraid if I start dating someone, they'll think I'm going to abandon them again." Gregory understood his daughter's concern. The children had been through many changes in the last few months. "Marie, you deserve to be happy. You deserve to find someone who is good for you. Even if it means less time for you guys. Sweetheart, I don't want you to live just for us. I want you to have a full, complete life. That includes the possibility of loving and being loved. And if the children don't like him, then you evaluate carefully, but if he's a good man, the children will see that. Can you stay with them Friday night?" "Of course. We'll have a pizza and movie night. They'll love it." On Friday, Christina got ready for the dinner with a mix of anxiety and excitement. It had been over 3 years since she had gone out alone, without the children. "Mommy, you look very pretty," Emily said when she saw Christina ready. "Thank you, sweetie." "You'll stay with Grandpa, okay?" "Can we make popcorn?" Nathan asked. "You can, but mind Grandpa." The dinner with Michael was better than Christina expected. He was attentive, funny, and showed a genuine interest in getting to know her better. They talked about work, about their children, about dreams and expectations. "Christina, can I be direct with you?" "Of course. I really like you. I'd like to get to know you better, but I want you to know that I understand you have priorities. Your children come first, and I respect that. Thank you for understanding that. I'm a father too. I know how it is. How is your son's relationship with you?" "Good, as much as possible. He lives with his mother but stays with me on weekends. He's a calm boy, likes soccer and video games." "And how did he react when he found out you were interested in someone?" "He got curious, asked if you were nice if you had kids his age." Christina smiled. "And what did you say?" "That you seemed like a very nice person, and that you have 2 kids a little younger than him." "And was he interested?" "He was. Said he wanted to meet you all when the time was right." When Christina got home, she found Gregory watching television in the living room. The children were already asleep. "How was dinner?" "It was good. Really good." "Is he a decent person?" "Seems so. He's a father too, so he understands the complications of a family with kids." "And now, are you going to see him again?" "If he asks, yes, but slowly. I want to be sure before introducing him to the children." "That's the right decision." "Dad, thank you for supporting me. I know it can't be easy for you to see me interested in someone after everything we've been through." Gregory smiled. "Christina, I want your happiness above all. If he makes you happy, then I'll root for you both, even if it means dividing our attention. Sweetheart, love doesn't shrink when it's divided. It grows. This house will always have room for more people you love." During the following weeks, Christina and Michael began to meet regularly. Dinners, weekend lunches when the children were with Gregory, long phone conversations after the kids were asleep. Michael proved to be exactly what he seemed, an honest, hard-working man, affectionate with his own son. When the time finally came to introduce him to the children, Christina was nervous but confident. "Nathan, Emily, Michael is having lunch with us on Sunday." "Who's Michael?" asked Nathan. "He's a friend of Mommy's, a special friend." "Like Grandpa?" "Different from Grandpa. Michael is someone Mommy likes very much." Emily, with her sharp child's perception, understood immediately. "Is he your boyfriend?" Christina smiled. "He might become that if you like him. And if we don't like him, then Mommy will rethink this friendship." On Sunday, Michael arrived punctually for lunch. He brought a delicious dessert and small gifts for the children. Nothing over the top, just some special candies his own son loved. "Hi, Nathan." "Hi, Emily. I'm Michael." The children were polite but shy at first. During lunch, Michael asked about school, about what they liked to play, showing genuine interest without forcing an intimacy that didn't exist yet. "Michael, do you have kids?" asked Nathan. "Yes, I do. A boy named Tyler, he's 8. "Does he like soccer?" Nathan wanted to know, as he was a fanatic about the sport. "He loves it. He roots for the Yankees, just like me." "I root for the Mets like Grandpa," Michael laughed. "Then we'll have to root against each other when our teams play." Michael's naturalness gradually won over the children. He didn't try to impose himself as a father figure, just presented himself as their mother's friend who was there to get to know them. After lunch, Gregory showed up to pick up the children for an outing he had promised. Christina made the introductions. "Dad, this is Michael. Michael, my father, Gregory." The two men greeted each other cordially. Gregory sized up Michael with a father's protective gaze, but could tell he seemed like a good person. "Nice to meet you, Michael. Christina has told me about you." "I imagine so, and I can say she talks a lot about you all too. It's easy to see how much she loves her family." "Michael, do you have children?" "Yes, sir, an 8-year-old boy." "Then you understand the responsibility of taking care of children." "I understand perfectly." Gregory nodded, apparently approving of what he saw. After everyone left, Christina and Michael were alone to talk about how the first meeting had gone. "What did you think of the kids?" "They're wonderful, Chris. Polite, smart, affectionate. You've done an incredible job raising them." "And my father, what did you think of him?" "He seems like a protective but fair man. You could tell how much he loves you all." "Was there any awkward moment?" "No, on the contrary. I felt he was sizing me up, but without hostility, like any father would." "And the kids? Do you think they liked you?" "I think so. At least they didn't run away from me," Michael laughed. "But I know it will take time for them to get used to me." "And are you willing to be patient with that process?" "All the time in the world, Chris. I'm in no hurry. I want to build something solid with you, and that includes a good relationship with your children." That answer confirmed for Christina that she had chosen well. Michael understood that dating a mother meant accepting and loving the entire family. In the following weeks, Michael was gradually incorporated into the family routine. He joined some Sunday lunches, took the kids to the park with Christina, watched movies with the whole family. One day, he arrived with his own son, Tyler. The boy was shy at first, but soon hit it off with Nathan and Emily. They discovered they had similar tastes and started playing together naturally. "Mom, Tyler is cool," Emily commented after they left. "He is. And did you guys like Michael?" "I do," said Nathan. "He's funny. And he doesn't try to boss us around." "And he doesn't try to be our dad," added Emily with childlike wisdom. "He's just Michael." That was exactly what Christina hoped to hear. Michael had found the perfect balance of being affectionate without trying to replace anyone. Gregory had also approved of his daughter's relationship. He saw how she was happier, more at ease. Michael showed respect for the family and never tried to interfere with the dynamic they had built. "Chris, you're radiant," Gregory commented one day. "I'm happy, Dad. Truly happy." "And are the kids adapting well?" "Better than I expected. Michael is very respectful of them, and having Tyler around is good too. The kids are learning to live with other people." "And Michael, how is he handling our big, complicated family?" Christina laughed. "He says he loves our family, that he's never seen a group of people who care for each other as much as we do." "He's right. We really do take care of each other. Yes, Dad. After so much time apart, now we know the value of being together. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out now continuing. 2 years had passed since Gregory reunited with Christina and the grandchildren on the street. The family had been completely transformed. The children had grown, becoming more confident and happy. Nathan was in 3rd grade, an excellent student and popular among his classmates. Emily was in 1st grade, a cheerful and outgoing child who charmed everyone around her. Christina had been promoted again at the construction company, now as a project manager. Her relationship with Michael evolved in a healthy and respectful way. They had been engaged for 6 months, but the wedding would only be the following year, to give all the children time to fully adapt to the new family configuration. Gregory, at 65, was living the best phase of his life. He had discovered the joys of being a present, involved grandfather. He never worked on weekends anymore, dedicating that time entirely to his family. One Saturday morning, while having coffee together as usual, Emily asked a question that caught everyone off guard. "Grandpa, what was my great-grandmother like?" Gregory stopped the cup halfway to his mouth. It was the first time any of the children had asked about Margaret, Christina's mother, who had passed away when she was a child. "Why do you want to know about her, Princess?" "Because at school the teacher said we inherit things from our grandparents and great-grandparents, and I want to know what things I inherited from her." Christina looked at her father, curious to see how he would respond. They rarely spoke about Margaret. It was a painful subject for both of them. "Your great-grandmother was a very special woman, Emily. She was affectionate, smart, and brave. Just like Mommy. Just like Mommy. In fact, your mother got a lot from Grandma Margaret." "And she died when Mommy was little?" "Yes, she died. Your mother was 10. "Was Mommy very sad?" Gregory looked at Christina, silently asking her to answer herself. "I was very sad, sweetheart. I missed her a lot." "Like I miss my dad?" The unexpected question about Daniel created a silence at the table. The children rarely mentioned their biological father, who had disappeared from their lives so long ago. "Do you miss him, Emily?" asked Christina gently. "Sometimes, but it's not a sad missing, it's just curiosity. What was he like when he was being good?" Nathan, who had been quiet until then, also spoke up. "I remember him before he got weird. He played with me, took me to the park." "And would you like to see him again?" asked Gregory. The children exchanged glances. "If he went back to being good, yes," said Nathan. "But if he was going to keep being mean and yelling, no." "What if we found him and he was sorry?" asked Emily. Christina felt her heart tighten. She hadn't expected the children to bring this up, especially now that their lives were so settled. "Why are you thinking about this?" she asked. "Because Tyler said he misses his dad too, even though he knows he wasn't nice to his mom," explained Nathan. "And we started thinking maybe our dad might be sorry too," Emily finished. Gregory realized this conversation needed to be handled very carefully. The children had a right to be curious about their biological father, but Christina needed to be comfortable with any decision that was made. "Christina, what do you think?" he asked. Christina took a deep breath. It was a situation she knew she would eventually have to face. "Kids, you know your dad had problems that made him not a very nice person to us." "But people can change, right, Mummy?" asked Emily. "Like Grandpa changed." The comparison between Gregory and Daniel caught everyone off guard. In the child's mind, both had been people who left and then wanted to come back. "It's different, sweetheart. Grandpa was never a bad person, he just made wrong decisions." "And Dad, was he a bad person?" "No, Emily, your father wasn't a bad person, but he got sick, a sickness that messes with people's heads, makes them do bad things." "And could he be cured from that sickness now?" Christina looked at Gregory, seeking support. He nodded slightly, encouraging her to be honest with the children. "He could be, sweetheart. People can get better, they can seek help and improve." "So, could we try to find him?" asked Nathan. "And what if you found him and he was still sick? Still a person who yells and makes you scared?" The children thought for a moment. "Then we could leave and never look for him again," said Emily with a child's simplicity. And if he was being good again, then we could try to be friends, added Nathan. Gregory admired his grandchildren's maturity. They weren't expecting a fairy tale. They just wanted a chance to know their father without the problems that drove him away. "Christina, may I suggest something?" said Gregory. "Of course. How about we try to locate Daniel first, without the children knowing, to see what situation he's in, if he's really changed, if he's willing to be a positive presence in their lives. And how would we do that? I can hire the same detective who helped me find you. He can discover where Daniel is, how he's living, if he's working, if he's stopped drinking. And if he's doing well, what do we do? Then you decide if you want to talk to him first, before involving the children. And if he's doing poorly, if he still has the same problems, then the children stay with the family they have now who loves and cares for them." Christina fell silent, thinking about the proposal. It was risky to stir up that situation, but she understood the children had the right to clear up their doubts about their father. "Okay," she said finally, "but on one condition. If we decide he can meet the children, it will be in a public place with you present, and the moment I say it's over, it's over." "I completely agree. And another thing. Michael needs to know everything. He's going to be part of this family. I can't hide anything from him." "Of course. And the children? Are you going to tell them we're looking for their father?" "I'll tell them we're seeing if it's possible, but I'll make it clear that it might not work out." That afternoon, after the children went out to play in the backyard, Gregory called the private detective who had helped him find Christina. "Mr. Hammond, good to hear your voice. How is the family?" "We're all well, Robert. Actually, it's about family that I want to talk to you about." "Need my help again?" "I do. I want to locate my ex-son-in-law, Daniel Silver. The last information I had is that he abandoned his family about 4 years ago." "I see. The grandchildren want to meet their father?" "Yes. They want to know how he is if he's changed. Can you investigate this discreetly?" "Of course. I'll need the full name, last known date of birth, last addresses." Gregory passed on all the information he had about Daniel. It wasn't much, but the detective was competent and had worked on similar cases. "How long do you think it might take to get some information?" "Depends on where he is and how he's living. If he's working with a formal job, it's quick. If he's in informal work or in a more complicated situation, it could take a few weeks." "I understand. And Robert?" "Yes?" "I need to know not just where he is, but how he is. If he still has problems with alcohol, if he's working, if he's in a relationship. In short, if he's a person who can be around children." "You can count on me, sir. I'll do a thorough investigation." 2 weeks later, Robert called back. "Mr. Gregory? It's about Daniel Silver. Did you manage to find him?" "I did, and I have good and bad news." "Start with the good." "The good news is he's been sober for 2 years. He's working at a mechanic's shop in Queens, has his own apartment, an organized life. He attends Alcoholics Anonymous regularly." "And the bad news?" "He's had a new partner for a year, a woman with a young daughter, and he seems to be trying to rebuild his life without looking back at the past." "What do you mean?" "I talked to some neighbors, co-workers. No one knew he had children from a previous relationship. It seems like he's living as if that previous life never existed." Gregory felt his heart tighten. It would have been better to have found Daniel still with problems than to discover he had simply forgotten his children. "Are you sure about this?" "I am. I even asked his partner indirectly. She said he never mentioned having children." "I see. Thank you for your work, Robert." "I'm sorry, sir. I know you were hoping for a different answer." When Gregory hung up, he spent a long time thinking about how he would tell Christina. On one hand, it was good to know that Daniel had recovered from alcoholism and was leading a stable life. On the other, it was painful to discover that he had chosen to completely erase the existence of his children. That night, after the children went to sleep, Gregory told everything to Christina and Michael, who was having dinner with them. "So he's okay, but he doesn't want anything to do with the kids," summarized Christina. "It seems not, or at least, he chose to move forward without including them in his new life." "Son of a bitch," murmured Michael, indignant. "Michael," Christina scolded him. "Sorry, Chris, but how does a father simply forget he has children?" "The same way a grandfather takes 12 years to reconnect with a daughter," replied Gregory, surprising everyone with his honesty. "Dad, it's not the same thing." "No, Chris. It's worse. Because I had pride and stubbornness as an excuse, he simply chose to forget you exist." Michael leaned forward in his chair. "And now? How are you going to tell the kids?" "Very carefully," said Christina. "They need to know the truth, but in a way that doesn't hurt them too much." "Maybe it's better to wait until they're a little older," suggested Gregory. "No. They asked the question. They deserve an answer. Besides, it's better they know now, with the whole family here to support them, than to find out when they're teenagers and become resentful." Michael took Christina's hand. "Can I help in any way?" "Yes, you can. You can keep being the wonderful man you have been for them. Because now they're going to need positive male role models in their lives even more." "And me?" asked Gregory. "I think I failed as a finder of lost fathers." Christina smiled sadly. "You didn't fail, Dad. You discovered the truth. And the truth, even when it's painful, is always better than living in doubt." The following Sunday after lunch, Christina gathered the children in the living room for the difficult conversation. "Remember when you asked about your dad?" "Yes," they answered in chorus. "Grandpa managed to find out where he is and how he is." "So, is he nice?" asked Emily eagerly. "He's fine, sweetie. He's not sick anymore. He's working. He has a house." "That's cool," said Nathan. "So, can we meet him?" Christina took a deep breath before continuing. "The problem is, he chose to have a new life. A life without you." The silence that followed was heavy. The children tried to process that information. "He doesn't want to see us," asked Emily, her voice tiny. "It's not that he doesn't want to, sweetie. It's that he decided to pretend you don't exist." "Why?" asked Nathan. "Did we do something wrong?" "No, my love. You didn't do anything wrong. Never. The problem isn't with you, it's with him. But if we go there and show him we exist, maybe he'll remember he likes us," suggested Emily, with the simple logic of a child. "Sweetie, you deserve a father who remembers you every day, not just when you appear in front of him." Nathan, who was older and beginning to understand emotional nuances better, asked a question that broke everyone's heart. "Mum, is it because we're not important enough?" "Nathan, look at me." The boy obeyed. "You are the most important people in the world. To me, to Grandpa, to Michael, you are loved, you are cared for, you are protected. The fact that one person can't see how special you are doesn't diminish your worth at all." Emily got up and went to her mother. "Mum, I don't want to look for him anymore." "Why, sweetie?" "Because we already have a family that likes us. Why do we want someone who doesn't even remember we exist?" The wisdom of her 6-year-old daughter touched Christina deeply. "That's right, sweetie. We have a family that loves us. Nathan has also gotten closer. And when Michael marries Mom, will he be like our new dad?" Michael, who was in the kitchen but could hear the conversation, came into the living room. "Nathan, Emily, can I say something to you?" They nodded. "I will never try to be your father. You already have a father, even if he's not here. But I can be a stepfather who loves you as if you were my own children." "What's the difference?" asked Emily. "The difference is that a father you don't choose, you're born with him. But a stepfather is someone who chooses to love you because he wants to, not because he has to." "And did you choose to love us?" "I did, from the first day I met you." Emily ran to hug Michael. "Then I choose you as my stepfather too." Nathan took a little longer, but also joined the hug. "I choose you too." Gregory watched the scene with teary eyes. Once again he was witnessing his family healing from old wounds and growing stronger with new love. "What about me?" joked Gregory. "Do you choose me as your grandpa too?" "Grandpa? We didn't choose you. We got you as a gift," said Emily, making everyone laugh. "What do you mean, a gift?" "Because you came into our lives like a present, like a surprise birthday." Emily's comparison moved Gregory deeply. That's how the children saw his arrival in their lives, as a gift, not as a family obligation. That night, after the children went to sleep, the adults stayed talking on the porch of Gregory's house. "Do you think they'll be okay?" asked Christina. "I think so," said Michael. "They have a solid family structure, and they're very mature for their age." "It's impressive how they processed that information," commented Gregory. "More mature than many adults." "They learned early on that life isn't always fair," said Christina. "But they also learned that it's always possible to find love in unexpected places." "Just like you learned from me," said Gregory. "Yes, Dad. Just like I learned from you." Michael watched the interaction between father and daughter with admiration. The way they had managed to rebuild their relationship after so much suffering was inspiring. "Can I say something?" "Of course," said Christina. "You are an extraordinary family. The way you support each other, protect each other, love each other, it's something rare to see." "We learned that family isn't just blood," said Gregory. "It's choice, it's care, it's being there when it matters. And it's forgiving when it's necessary," added Christina. "And it's starting over as many times as needed," finished Michael. 3 months after that conversation, Michael and Christina were married in a small, intimate ceremony, only close family and a few friends. Gregory walked Christina down the aisle, fulfilling a dream he had lost 12 years before. "Dad, thank you for giving me away to the right man this time," whispered Christina in his ear. "Thank you for giving me a second chance to do this," replied Gregory, moved. The children were in the wedding party. Nathan carried the rings. Emily scattered rose petals along the path. Tyler, Michael's son, was a page alongside Nathan, and the three had a lot of fun with the responsibility. During the reception, Gregory gave a speech that moved everyone present. 3 years ago, I was a rich but miserable man, rich in money but miserable in family. Today, I look around and see riches that no money can buy. I see a daughter who forgave me. I see grandchildren who love me. I see a son-in-law who cares for my family as if it were his own. And I see friends celebrating this moment of happiness with us. Christina, Michael, Nathan, Emily, Tyler, you have taught me that it's never too late to start over. It's never too late to ask for forgiveness. And it's never too late to build a real family. There wasn't a dry eye at the reception. After the wedding, the family moved to a larger house in Greenwich Village where everyone could live comfortably. Gregory kept his neighboring house, but now it served more as a home office and a place to receive visitors since he spent most of his time at the family home. The routine settled in naturally. Michael adapted perfectly to the existing family dynamic, adding his own contribution without trying to change what already worked well. Tyler began splitting his weekends between his mother's house and the new extended family, forming strong bonds with Nathan and Emily. Christina continued to grow professionally at the construction company. Gregory had started including her in the company's strategic decisions, recognizing her competence and preparing her to eventually take on greater responsibilities. "Chris, have you ever thought about getting a master's in project management?" asked Gregory one day at the office. "I have, but when would I have the time between work, home, the kids? What if the company paid for the master's and you did it on weekends? Michael and I can take turns with the kids." "Are you serious?" "Completely. You have the potential for much more than you're doing now, and I'd like you to be able to take over the company one day." "Take over the company? Dad, that's a lot." "Why is it a lot? You're competent, you know the business, you have strategic vision, and you're my daughter. What if I can't handle it? Then we put someone else in the position, but I'm sure you can handle it." Christina became thoughtful. It was an incredible opportunity, but also an enormous responsibility. "Can I think about it?" "Of course, but don't think too long. You've already lost many years away from here." That night, Christina discussed the proposal with Michael. "What do you think? Should I accept the master's?" "Of course you should. You have a talent for it, Chris, and it will be good for the kids to see their mother growing professionally. But it will mean less time with them on weekends. It will mean more quality in the time we spend together, and they'll learn that it's important for people to chase their dreams. And you don't mind being alone with 3 kids on Saturdays?" Michael laughed. "Chris, I married you knowing you have 2 wonderful children, and Tyler loves playing with them. It'll be fun. What if I accept and then want to quit? Then you quit. It's no problem at all. The confidence Michael showed in her abilities gave Christina the assurance she needed. Then it's decided. I'll accept. The master's program lasted 2 years. They were 2 hectic years, but Christina managed to balance work, studies, and family with the support of Gregory and Michael. The children were proud to have a mother who studies at college just like grown-ups. When she graduated, the whole family was present at the graduation ceremony. Gregory couldn't stop smiling, seeing his daughter receive her specialist diploma in project management. "Mommy, are you even smarter now?" asked Emily. "Now I've learned new things, sweetie." "What kind of things?" "Things that will help me work better to take better care of Grandpa's company. And our family. I already knew how to take care of the family. That's something no one needs to teach Mommy." 2 years after graduation, Gregory announced his partial retirement. At 70, he wanted to dedicate more time to his grandchildren and leave the company's management to Christina. "Are you sure about this decision, Dad?" "Absolutely. You're more prepared than I was when I took over my father's company. And if I mess up, everyone messes up. The important thing is knowing how to fix it. And what will you be doing?" "I'll be a full-time grandfather. I'll take the kids to school, help with homework, teach Nathan to drive when he turns 15, organize Emily's sweet 16 party." Christina laughed at her father's list of plans. "You've already thought of everything, huh?" "Sweetheart, at 70 years old, we don't have time to waste. I want to enjoy every moment with my grandchildren." The transition was smooth. Gregory continued at the company as a consultant, guiding Christina through the more complex decisions, but leaving the day-to-day management entirely in her hands. Christina proved to be a competent and innovative executive. She implemented new processes, modernized the company, and won over important clients. In 2 years under her leadership, the construction company grew 40%. "Dad, I think you made the right choice," she said one day, showing him the financial reports. "I knew you would. You were always smarter than me." "Don't exaggerate." "I'm not. You managed to be a businesswoman and a mother at the same time. I never managed to be a businessman and a father at the same time." "You learned, Dad, and now you're the best grandfather in the world." It was true. Gregory had transformed into a dedicated and present grandfather. He knew his grandchildren's friends, knew each one's favorite subjects, attended parent-teacher conferences. He had become what he never was as a father, a constant and caring presence. One day, 5 years after the reunion, Emily was writing an essay about family for school. She asked Gregory for help. "Grandpa, how do I write about our family?" "However you want, Princess. Write about what you feel." "But our family is different from other families. How do I explain that?" Gregory sat down next to his 11-year-old granddaughter, now grown and clever. "Emily, what do you think makes our family different? We have you, who was lost and then was found. We have Mom, who got married again. We have Michael, who isn't our dad but is our stepdad. And we have Tyler, who is our half-brother, but we love him like a full brother." Gregory smiled at his granddaughter's explanation. "And is that bad?" "No, it's good, because we have more people to love us." "Then write that our family is special because it was built with love, not just blood. And that we prove people can change and be better." "That too." Emily wrote her essay with her grandfather's help. The theme was My Special Family, and she told the story of how her grandfather found her sleeping on the street with her mother and brother, how they built a new life together, how her mother found love again, and how everyone learned that family is who cares for you, not who you're born with. The essay was chosen by the teacher to be read at the parent-teacher meeting. When Christina heard her daughter telling the family's story, she couldn't hold back her tears. "Mommy, why are you crying?" asked Emily after the presentation. "Because you told our story in such a beautiful way." "It's because it's a beautiful story." "It really is, sweetheart. It's the most beautiful story I know." Gregory, who was present at the meeting, approached the two of them. "Emily, can I tell you a secret?" "You can." "When I found you all that night, I thought I was saving you, but really you were the ones who saved me." "How so, Grandpa?" "You taught me how to be a real family, and now you know. Now I know, and I'll keep learning every day with you." 7 years had passed since that cold dawn when Gregory found Christina sleeping on the street with the children. Nathan was now 12, a smart and responsible boy who dreamed of being an engineer. Emily was 9, a cheerful and determined girl who changed her career dream every week. Tyler was 15 and was the protective older brother that Nathan and Emily had always wanted. The family had grown again. Michael and Christina had a daughter, little Margaret, who was now 2 years old and the joy of the house. Gregory had insisted on the name in honor of his first wife, and Christina had been moved by the suggestion. "She'll grow up knowing who her grandmother Margaret was," said Gregory on the day the girl was born. "And she'll grow up with a family that loves her unconditionally," replied Christina. The construction company flourished under Christina's management. She had expanded the business, created new departments, hired young and talented engineers. Gregory was immensely proud of his daughter, but what made him happiest was seeing that she could be a successful executive without ceasing to be a present mother. One Sunday in December, the family was gathered in the backyard for the traditional barbecue. Gregory was grilling the meat. Michael was playing soccer with the boys. Christina was caring for little Margaret. Emily was helping set the table. "Grandpa, are you happy?" asked Emily, coming out of nowhere with the question. Gregory stopped turning the meat and looked at his granddaughter. "Very happy, Princess. Why do you ask?" "Because today I was thinking about how our life was before and how it is now, and I wondered if you also feel happy remembering that." "What do you remember from before?" "I remember when we slept on the street and were cold, and you showed up with those flowers." "You remember that? You were very little." "Yes, I remember. I remember you were crying, and I remember I was scared at first, but then I saw you were kind." Gregory was moved. He didn't know Emily held memories from that time. "And you? Are you happy?" "Very happy, Grandpa. We have a big family, a good home, food every day, a cool school, and most of all, we have a lot of love." "That's true. We have a lot of love." "Grandpa, can I tell you something?" "Of course." "I think it was good that my real father left." The statement surprised Gregory. "Why do you think that?" "Because if he hadn't left, we would never have come to live on the street. And if we hadn't come to live on the street, you would never have found us. And if you had never found us, we would never have become a family." The 9-year-old girl's logic was simple but profound. She had understood that sometimes bad things happen so that good things can emerge later. "Emily, you are a very wise girl. It's because I learned from you all that sometimes we need to go through difficult things to get to the good things. And you don't feel angry about the difficult things you went through?" "No, because now I understand that they were like a path, a kind of bad path, but one that led to a very good place." Gregory hugged his granddaughter, impressed by her maturity. "I love you very much, Princess." "I love you too, Grandpa. And you know why?" "Why?" "Because you proved that a real grandpa isn't the one who is born a grandpa. It's the one who chooses to be a grandpa every day." Those words perfectly summarized Gregory's journey. He hadn't been born a good grandfather, nor even a good father, but he had chosen to learn, to change, to grow, and most of all, he had chosen to love unconditionally. That night, after everyone had left and the children were asleep, Gregory was alone on the porch, thinking about the conversation with Emily. How could a 9-year-old child have so much wisdom about family relationships? Christina appeared with 2 cups of coffee and sat beside him. "What are you thinking about?" "About Emily, about the things she told me today." "What things?" Gregory recounted the conversation about her biological father, about difficulties being a path to good things, about choosing to be a grandpa every day. "She's always been very perceptive," said Christina. "Even when she was little, she understood things that older children didn't." "Where did she get this wisdom from?" "From you, Dad. From me. From Michael. She grew up seeing adults who make mistakes, who feel remorse, who ask for forgiveness, who change. She learned that people aren't perfect, but they can always improve." "And Nathan? How does he process all this?" "Nathan is more reserved, but he understands too. He once told me he's proud to have a grandfather who fixes the mistakes he made." "Fixes the mistakes he made." That's how he sees you, Dad, as someone who recognized he was wrong and worked to fix it. Gregory fell silent for a moment. Chris, do you think I really managed to fix things, or are there still things I need to improve? Christina smiled. Dad, the fact that you still ask yourself that question proves you did fix things. People who have truly changed never stop questioning if they can do better. And you, have you completely forgiven me? Completely. Not only have I forgiven you, but I've learned to admire the man you've become. Even with all the lost years? The lost years are part of our story, but our story didn't end with them. Our story continued, and the later chapters have been much better than the first ones. They fell silent, watching the stars. It was a clear, cloudless night, perfect for reflection. Chris, can I ask you a question? Of course. Are you happy? Very happy, Dad. Even with all the difficulties you went through? Even with the marriage that didn't work out? With the time you spent on the street? Especially because of all that. How so? Because everything we went through made me value what we have now. It made me understand that happiness isn't the absence of problems. It's the ability to overcome problems together with the people we love. And do you love our family? I love our family. I love our crazy, complicated, patched up, expanded, and perfect family. Perfect? Perfect for us? Perfect because it's ours. Gregory smiled. His daughter had summed up exactly what he felt. They didn't have a traditional family. They had a family built with forgiveness, patience, understanding, and a lot of love. Chris, I have a confession to make. What kind of confession? During all those years I was away from you, I dreamed of the day I could have my family back. But in my dreams, I imagined it would be you coming back home asking for forgiveness, accepting what I wanted for your life. And what changed? I discovered that family isn't about people accepting what we want for them. It's about us accepting who they really are and loving them anyway. And do you accept who I really am? I accept and admire you. You are a strong, independent, brave, and caring woman. You are a dedicated mother, a loving wife, a daughter who knew how to forgive. You are a competent businesswoman and a person of integrity. I couldn't be prouder of you. Christina was moved by her father's words. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for giving me the chance to get to know who you really are. They hugged, father and daughter finally complete in a relationship that took decades to be properly built. The next morning, Gregory woke to the sound of children playing in the backyard. Margaret was learning to walk and Nathan and Emily were helping her, each holding one of her hands as she took wobbly little steps. Come on, Margaret, come with us, encouraged Emily. That's it. You can do it, cheered Nathan. Gregory watched from the window, his heart full of joy. Another generation of the family growing up with love, care, and attention. Margaret would never know what it was like not to have a present family, would never go through the difficulties Nathan and Emily had faced. He went down to join the children in the backyard. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Grandpa. Look, Margaret is almost walking by herself, said Emily excitedly. I see. She's a determined little girl. Just like Mom, said Nathan. And just like Aunt Emily, added Tyler, who was sitting on the ground playing with some of his sister's toys. Why just like Emily? Asked Gregory. Because Emily was also very little when she learned to walk in a new house. And she was brave too. Tyler's observation showed how the children had integrated the family history. For them, there was no before and after. There was only a family that had always been together, even when they were apart. Michael appeared at the kitchen door with a cup of coffee. Good morning, everyone. How are the walking teachers? Margaret is doing well, the children answered in chorus. And you? Have you had breakfast yet? Not yet, said Nathan. We were waiting for Grandpa to wake up so we could all have breakfast together. It was a ritual they had established on weekends. Family breakfast, all together around the big kitchen table. Then let's go. Leave Margaret with Mommy, and let's have our special Sunday coffee. Sunday breakfast was special because Gregory made pancakes for the children. It was a recipe he had learned by watching videos on YouTube, determined to create positive traditions with his grandchildren. Grandpa, "Can you make the pancakes in heart shapes today?" asked Emily. "Yes, I can, Princess. Heart-shaped pancakes for a family full of love." While Gregory prepared the pancakes, the children told their plans for the day. Nathan wanted to go to the park to play soccer with his friends. Emily wanted to go to the bookstore to pick out a new book. Tyler needed to study for a test, but promised to play with his siblings afterward. "What do you think about going to the park in the morning, to the bookstore in the afternoon, and studying together at night?" suggested Michael. "All together?" asked Nathan. "All together. A family that plays soccer together, buys books together, and studies together, stays together." The children loved the idea. Christina appeared in the kitchen with Margaret in her arms. "What are you all talking about?" "We're planning a perfect family Sunday," explained Emily. "And you don't need to plan much," said Christina. "Any family day is perfect." Gregory looked around the table, seeing all the faces he loved. His daughter, radiant and fulfilled. His son-in-law, affectionate and present. His grandchildren, happy and secure. His youngest granddaughter, growing up surrounded by love. "You know something?" he said, interrupting the conversation. "What?" everyone asked. 7 years ago, I was the richest and most miserable man in Yankees. Today, I am the richest and happiest man in Yankees." "Why are you still the richest?" asked Emily curiously. "Because now I know what true wealth is. You. A family that loves each other, takes care of each other, and stays together no matter what." "Even if we fight sometimes?" asked Nathan. "Especially when we fight, because a family fight is a sign that we care about each other, and when we care, we always find a way to make peace." Emily got up from her chair and went to hug Gregory. "Grandpa, do you want to know something?" "I do. You are the best gift our family ever got." "Why do you think that?" "Because you taught us that it's never too late to fix something that's broken, and that real love is stronger than any fight." Gregory hugged his granddaughter, feeling his heart overflow with gratitude. Those children had taught him more about love, forgiveness, and family than he ever imagined he could learn. "Emily, can I tell you a secret?" "You can. You are also the best gift I ever received, and you know why." "Why?" "Because you taught me how to be a grandfather, how to be a father, how to be a family. And we'll keep being family forever?" "Forever and a little bit more." "How much is a little bit more?" "It's for all eternity." Emily smiled and went back to her chair, satisfied with the answer. End of story. And now, dear listeners, we have reached the end of this moving story about Gregory and Christina. We hope you were as moved as we were while telling this story of reunion and forgiveness. Leave in the comments what you thought of the story. Do you believe Gregory deserved forgiveness? And Christina, did she make the right choice in accepting her father's help? We really want to know your opinions. Don't forget to leave a like and especially subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other touching stories like this one. Until next time.